Hello and welcome back to the game room. This week we are talking about the third game in the Super Hot series, which is called Super Hot Mind Control Delete. Now this was a game that I think almost stealth launched in 2020, or if it didn't, I was not aware of it. The Super Hot series in general is very funny. Remember when it was an Xbox exclusive all the way back in 2018, 2017 when it came out? Then there was Super Hot VR, which is on everything. I actually played that on the Oculus, and now we have Super Hot Mind Control Delete, which is more or less just more DLC kind of stuff, but is officially the third game. And it's funny, I own 4 versions. I own it on the Switch, I have it on PS4, I have it on Xbox, and I have the VR one on Oculus, and now I have Mind Control Delete on the PS5, all digitally. I think it's the only game where I have 3 versions of it where I technically don't own anything. And I love it. I love the first game. The first game I thought was too short, made you want to play more of it. The second game, the VR one, is probably the best of all of them. It is super short, obviously, because there's only so much you can do. Well, the third one decided to address that, I think. So let's talk about the good at first. The good is that it adds a lot of much needed nuance to the Super Hot game without changing the core principles, which is time moves when you move. So when you move your character, the enemies move, things happen. Now, when you're standing still and nothing happens, time does move extremely slowly. So if a bullet is fired, it will eventually get to you. If you start a mission and don't move at all, the red guys will find you and kill you, but it will take 5-10 minutes or so. I actually used Super Hot as the lighting for my video when I covered the Game Awards, because it was so bright with nothing but white. It makes for great ambient lighting in my game room, and I'll probably use that for lighting in the future. So that's probably my favorite thing about this game. Anyways, they've added some new nuances. So now there is almost a roguelike element introduced where you have sets of levels. So in the original Super Hot, you kind of went through a storyline where you go through all this different craziness, and the stories are all over the place, but there's a defined endpoint, and you get there in a couple hours depending on how good you are, and then you have mini games. Well, this one eschews that by giving you nodes where you're kind of, I don't know what the hell you're going through. It's just more game essentially, but you will have a random set of levels, and then you start getting perk points during the levels. So you can get the ability to have bullets ricochet, or have bullets go through enemies, or you can heal yourself, or you can have it where if you deflect one bullet, you deflect all bullets, or have bullets when they're coming at you slow down. And as you get deeper in the game, you unlock more perks, and then you also get cores. And cores, much like in the first game, you have the hot switch ability where you could transfer from yourself to a red guy and then become that guy. Now you have the ability to charge, you have the ability to have more health, so you don't just die in one hit, you always at least have 2 hits, if not 3 hits or even more. And then the last core that I was able to find, I don't know if there's other ones, is the recall core. So you throw a sword and then you can recall it back to you, which means you start every level with the sword, which is nice. And some of the perks are core specific, so you can have the ability to hot switch with multiple enemies, you can have the ability to slow down your charge retiming, or have your recall of the sword hit other enemies and things of such nature. And so as you go through the different levels, where you have 7 different levels, 6, and each time you have to kill a certain amount of red guys before you move on to the next, it just goes on and on and on. And where it gets a little bogged down, in my opinion, is that I get that they were trying to extend the length of the game, but it's artificial extension of the length of the game, because you find yourself going through the same scenarios over and over and over again, except now they add new nuances where they have now guys that aren't just covered in red, they got like almost white shells where they have one arm exposed or one leg exposed, and that's their vulnerable spot. But if you hit them anywhere else, they're not gonna have any reaction. You have guys that now have their weapons are part of their body, so they don't drop the gun when you throw a thing at them or you stun them. They're going to have that sword, they're going to have that regardless, so then you don't get to pick up that item. You have guys that have these bullet attachments, so if you kill them, they then explode and bullets go everywhere. You have proximity mines where you hit it and then bullets go everywhere. Super cool nuance. I love having all these different wrinkles. They even introduced ultimate enemies that you can't kill based on which core you're using. So you can have the charge core, which unlocks this crazy dog thing. It comes at you and kills you. You have the one who throws the sword, who can't kill you. He's got like a white slash. And then one who I didn't get footage of is another hot switch enemy who will hot switch into your body and then make you throw your gun. Which that one I found to be the least the least impressive, because sometimes he helps you get out of nasty situations. And that's it. That's more or less it, is you're on the same treadmill, and instead of having the opportunity to be like, wow, that was fun, let's go and check out the rest of what's there, it keeps you on this treadmill so that you keep playing, but eventually it loses its luster. I think it goes on a little too long, and even when you get to the end, it makes you then essentially give up everything you earned, and you get on this black screen where I don't even know if that's the end of the game. That might be it. I mean, it's all so heady, whatnot. There was a 100 level challenge where it had you go through 100 levels. I didn't do that one. That was the only one I didn't do because I did not. I don't. That's what I mean. It did the opposite of what the other two games did, where it was so much fun it made you want to play it beyond the ending. In this one, it made it so convoluted, and you're repeating the same cycles, because there's 30 or so levels, but they introduce them all slowly. But then, all right, cool, I'm going to the disco again, I'm going to the garden again, I'm going to this again. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting way that I felt about it, because it was really fun for maybe the first few hours, just like the other two. But then as you get into it, as it gets harder, as they introduce new layers, it starts to wear you down. And that's not even a reviewer's curse thing. That's just a fun thing. Like, I legitimately wanted to put it down, but I just have this need to have to beat a game. But for I think I got it for $10 as a sale, so for that, still worth checking out. If you like Super Hot, still worth picking up, and fully enjoyed it. Just a little bit of a bummer that they artificially extended it so long. However, a cool concept, and still love the Super Hot series, and looking forward to seeing if they ever make another game. All right, that's what you get for this week, guys. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.
Super geil, Leash, super geil, SS, super geil, Istanbul, super geil.